Welcome to the show. Your host KZ and Trisha, husband and wife. Great eats and the best topics. Coming out of, where are we? Punch Bowl Social?
Punch Bowl. Yeah.
It's in St. Louis Park in Minnesota. It's been open for a year and a half. Really cool place for breakfast, lunch, dinner, events. It looks like too. There's a bowling alley in here, foosball table I noticed, and a ton of, would you say a ton of like personality?
Yeah, sure. Our water is served in jars.
Yeah, jar water. You know, a special one. There's like a pretty long table that looks just like a tree that fell down in the woods.
It's like a cut. Yeah, cut in half.
Cut in half so you can actually eat off of it. It's pretty cool. So I just got back from California last night, and I have to be honest with you, Trisha, I didn't prepare topics, but from what you told me, sounds like you have enough topics for the both of us.
Yeah, I guess I have 3 topics.
Okay, so I just need to come up with one. So we'll come up with one topic at the very end, just as a FYI to you guys. We're changing up the format of the show a little bit. We're gonna go through 4 topics instead of 6. I think we did 5 on the last episode, and then we'll rate the restaurant that we're at. Right now, it's at a steady 5 for me, but we gotta eat the food and see if the food is as good as the ambiance.
Lobster bacon fries.
Yep, lobster bacon fries.
I don't know what's good.
We also are not using our typical mic. We usually use a lapel mic. So hopefully you guys can hear us well. If not, we apologize and it'll be better next time. Yeah, what's the first topic?
First topic is being vegan. Is it a personal choice or is it a movement?
Is it a personal choice or a movement? Like, you already know how I feel about this. I feel like media is the devil. I feel like if something, because I'm a marketing student. I went to school for advertising and branding, and I understand that if you consistently put a message in front of someone over and over and over again, it becomes a cultural norm. It just does. It's like yesterday I was at a gas station, and I was like, I know I want Doritos, but I don't know what I want to drink with it. And for some reason or another, I automatically grabbed a Coke. And if you think back, there's advertisements with Doritos and Coke saying that they're the perfect pair. But like subconsciously, I was doing something that I was trained to do, right? I mean, we do it in school. You just say your numbers over and over again. You say your alphabet over and over again in a melodic way.
Interject. So,
and you get brainwashed.
So are you saying that we're getting brainwashed by eating meat or getting brainwashed by being vegan?
Oh, good point. That's a good point. I don't know.
Because vegans will say that we're being brainwashed.
To eat meat.
Eat meat.
Whew. You're just like, well, your initial question was, is it a personal choice or is it a movement?
And I would think that your comments are really like leaning towards maybe being this movement, quote unquote, versus a personal choice.
Right. So on the macro level, you're completely right. Like, we're being brainwashed for the meat, to be vegan and to be meat eaters, like both. But to address your question on the micro, yeah, I do believe that brands are realizing that there's money behind it, so they're going harder. They're going super hard. And, I don't know if I could go to a supermarket and grab a soy-based, meat substitute. I don't know if that was an option.
Yeah, see, this is what I don't know. Like, is it because I'm older that I am more conscious of my health? The choices that I make, what I eat, or has it always been this way? Like, personally, I feel like, I don't know. It feels like there's a lot more vegan options, like being supplied in the supermarkets now, or in Target, or just gluten-free stuff, or just organic. So I feel like it's more prevalent today.
Yeah, we're all right. I think we're ready.
So you're ready? You know what you want?
Yeah.
Okay, you can go first because I'm not ready.
I want the standard breakfast. I want scrambled eggs. That's pretty much it, right? Toast. Do you have bread options?
It comes with like a toasted ciabatta, but we can also do like a white bread.
Oh, let me do it how you guys have it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I get the chicken pot pie?
Yes.
It's good? You said yes like that, like it's
I
really
know.
good.
I feel like I should change mine. Yes.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to start off with like an apple or?
What type of appetizer do you suggest?
I really like our black eyed pea hummus. Also our chips and dip are like a good easy one to share. Our charred onion creme fresh, like an onion dip, and our kettle chips we make and fried in house.
Do you have a chili by any chance?
What's that?
A chili?
We don't. We've got a black bean soup, a citrus black bean, and a vegetable minestrone.
Do you want to just do like fries or?
Tacos are good too. Sriracha peanut fries. Good.
Yeah. What did you say? Just chips and dip, babe? Or what did you say?
Yeah, the chips and dip are just a good one. It's kind of
Or
nice
fries.
starter, easy to share.
Yeah, let's try that.
Absolutely. All right, we'll get you guys going. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Do you
you.
leave a beverage menu with you?
No, we're
okay.
Don't remember where we were at. But yeah.
Oh, I was
brain
just
lock.
saying, like, I feel like it's more prevalent than it was before. But like I said, I don't know if it's because I'm older now. I'm, trying to be more health conscious about what I eat. But I don't know. Do you know anybody vegan? Do you know any vegans?
I'm sure I do.
Have you ever? Did you ever read up on vegan propaganda? No, I don't want to say propaganda, but just literature of like why people make the decision to be vegan. Like, have you ever had that conversation prior to today?
Maybe, like in the vague, high-level sense. I never really got deep, and then I've definitely never done any research. That one comment that you made earlier, it's like, am I realizing it because I'm kind of focused on it as an adult? Like, I call that like the new car theory. Like, whenever you get a new car, you start seeing that exact same car everywhere.
Right. Yeah,
and then,
or just anything.
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah, I mean, you may be right. Maybe this is something that's been going on forever. And did you do any research on this topic?
Well, prior to bringing up this topic, I think it was shortly after I had Josiah. So we have a son, Josiah. He's going to be 2 in July. So shortly after having him, remember me and Nikita, like, we wanted to be vegan, and then it turned into us just being pescatarian, and then it just turned into her just being pescatarian and not me. Mm-hmm. But prior to that, though, like, I was definitely doing research to justify my reasons to not want to be vegan anymore, because I'm like, I can't do this. It's too hard. But yeah, so I've done research on it. I know people who are vegans, and they basically say, that we weren't meant to eat meat. Like, our bodies weren't originally designed to eat meat. And like, that's why it just has all of these negative effects on our bodies. And
a side of kettle chips and charred onion dip here for you.
That sounds wonderful. Can we put it in the center?
No problem. You are.
Thank you. But
trying to get these
are
chips
that
in.
or yeah, remember I was telling you, like, one of the examples where, if you fed a gorilla like plants or like vegetables, and you fed another one like bloody flesh, like, which one is gonna act like more aggressive or more crazy? And then you're like, well, why does it gotta be like so savage? Like, why is he getting fed a bloody piece of meat? Like, why isn't he getting fed a hamburger, like a cooked hamburger? Like, then I think it would be different. So, I mean, just those type of examples. And then on the other side of it, people talk about vegans just being deficient in a lot of things, like just like for example with Nikita, she you know, went down in her weight percentile after she was pescatarian and she wasn't eating meat anymore. She had a low iron count, so it's like you just become deficient in those type of things where like you would get those vitamins and those nutrients from meat. So I don't know. Some people are really in what's that documentary on Netflix, What's the Health? I swear, like when that first came out and people were watching that, I was like, I can't be friends with someone that's like, I'm changing my whole life because of this documentary. Because it is that part, you know, it was focused. It was focused on an agenda and just how they were quoting stats. Because I minored in psychology, so I know a little bit about how like research is done and how you present your findings and your research, and it was just really skewed in a way to look crazier than it was, or just crazy period, about eating meat and what it does to you. And I don't know. So, I mean, shout out to people who are being vegan, and that's great and everything, cool. But I don't like it when that choice is trying to be pushed on other people of like, I'm a vegan, so I'm better than you.
Has that happened to you?
I've not like directly to my face, but I've seen people who are vegan say those type of things of like, how could you even eat meat? Like, that's disgusting, you know? Or like, my food are posting memes like, my food doesn't have a face. Like, I'm sorry if that offends you, or something like that. You know, like, it's just, then it's like you're bullying people to like make a different decision. So I'm not sure if it's just a personal choice or a movement, but it is definitely like a lot louder than I ever remember it being, for sure.
Very true. Well, all
right, it's my first topic.
That's a good topic. I don't know if one's worse than the other. I think there's like supplement. I think diet's really important. I think a balanced diet is really important, and really understanding what goes into your body and how it makes you feel. I think everybody's different, and everybody should do what's right for them. It's just kind of how I feel about it all. I think things are good in moderation. Like, too much soy is bad for you, right? So, you know.
Right, it is. It's actually something I probably shouldn't even have. And that was one of the things that I looked up too, about there's certain kind of soy that's really bad for you.
Right. So everything, I think, in moderation's okay, and you just have to get your balance right. So that's a good topic.
One final comment that I want to make though about this whole going back to this vegan theory of like, we were never designed to like eat meat, and like our body doesn't process it well. I'm Native American, so in the Midwest, Native American from, my people were originated in the Minnesota, North Dakota area. I couldn't imagine my people being able to survive in Minnesota, North Dakota winters without eating meat.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be here today if they didn't eat meat. And just the fact that our culture is just so centered around the buffalo, and using every part of the buffalo, eating it, using all the parts to clothe you, to shelter you, and doing it in such a respectful way as well. Or even hunting deers, it was just always you did it in a respectful way, where it's an understanding of like, I need you in order for me to survive, and to be respectful of that. So it's hard for me to believe that our bodies weren't designed to eat meat, and just because it's just so it's just so embedded in my culture as a Native American. But that's my final words.
What's the next topic then?
Next topic is Kanye West. And his recent tweets.
I love Kanye. I love Kanye and his recent tweets.
So, his recent tweets
makes
about...
me feel better about myself.
What do you mean? His recent tweets about supporting Trump?
Yeah. And like, even within that sentence, you got it all wrong. And that's the worst part about media. He's not supporting Trump. He's just saying that Trump is my friend. I fucks with Trump. He has some things that I fuck with, and he has some things that I don't as a president. But overall, he's my friend, and I think that's so dope.
I get that. I see that side of it.
It's like, you know,
on the other side of
before
it,
you say but, it's like, let's say you have a sibling or a friend that's of some other persuasion, like they're gay or they're trans or they're whatever. And then you go to church and they're like, oh my God, you know him or you're related to who? And you're getting judged for that? Like, that shit's whack as hell. Like, let me love who I need to love and not like what I don't like about him and love and like what I do like about him. Shit's, I don't know. Because before Donald Trump became president and he was doing his show, The Apprentice, and releasing books and doing entrepreneurial things, like, if you ask me what do I think about Donald Trump, I think he's the man. He's from Queens. And he became like a billionaire, bro. Like, that shit's inspiration.
Trump? So you trying to say that Donald Trump came from nothing? Is that what you...
No, he didn't come from nothing, but his father came from nothing. And his father invested $1 million in his first real estate property. For sure, he definitely had a golden spoon in his mouth. I'm just saying...
Silver spoon.
Okay, silver spoon. I like LeBron James. I like... not LeBron James. I like Carmelo Anthony. He played for the New York Knicks forever. New York boy. You know, like, I fucks with him, bro. Like, but... I like playing basketball. Am I an NBA player or will I ever be? No. His family is a basketball family. Like, he has an upper hand, but I still can appreciate what he's great at. Like, we do it all the time, you know, and aspire to maybe relate some of those things that got you there to our own lives and our own endeavors. Like,
this is probably
it's media. I know, like, that's why I was saying fries. But it's media that brainwashes you and makes you hate somebody. And that's what Kanye's talking about. It's like, I'm not a fucking sheep. I am the shepherd. Like, you're not going to tell me not to like somebody because that's just like groupthink.
Ooh. I got the standard breakfast, scrambled eggs.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, that pot pie is huge.
Sorry. And pot pie.
Thank you so much.
Anything else right away?
Would you mind taking that away?
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
And do I get...
Your toast looks good.
Yeah, the food off the bat looks amazing. Like, I've never even seen it presented like this. My bread looks like French toast.
The legit pot pie.
Yeah, her pot pie. Wait, oh, you didn't take a picture.
Oh, post it.
We'll post it. You can follow Trisha. What's your handle?
Trizzy with 3 Z's, 86. For both Snapchat and Instagram.
Follow her. And then you can see what we're eating. I'm gonna send this to you and make a collage later. But yeah, so I feel I really love it. Because my wife, when Donald Trump was not president, you know, like, obviously running for president, became president, I was telling her, like, there's some things that I may think make sense that he's doing, like corporate tax. There's a whole bunch of things that I do not like. But me just liking one thing, she automatically became like an enemy of mine. She just loathed me. She honestly said that. She said, I don't know if I can like you because you like Donald Trump. And it's the wildest thing, like, straight up wild to me. And now they're doing the exact same thing to Kanye West. Like, so many people are writing him off for quote unquote being a free thinker. What do you think? Think he's gonna lose all his fans? Yeah, it looks great. Thank you so much.
I don't know. But what I think is that, you know, as a celebrity, you definitely you have this platform, and you're in the spotlight, and everything that you say and do is, scrutinized a lot more, and like that's just the cost of being famous. And I understand that, just because you're put in that type of position, that doesn't mean that you should be like a savior of all like social problems or anything like that. But I don't know, it kind of comes hand in hand. Like that's a job. That's just kind of comes with his territory. So for him to make the comments that he's making, I think it's tough. Like I guess it's like saying like it's perceived as Hitler, the bad guy.
So the United States president is like
Hitler.
But
I'm not saying like Hitler. Like he is like Hitler. I'm saying that, all right, I'm sure that somebody could say some positive things about Hitler, like the fact that he was so charismatic that he
Are you comparing the United States president?
Did I just tell
Hitler?
You that I'm not doing that?
Oh.
I'm saying that somebody could point out a positive, that he was so charismatic that he led a country to do the horrendous things that they did. Like that's all positive, I guess you could say. That's how charismatic of a person he was. But he still did horrible things. So it's hard for people to separate the positives of somebody and the bad things that they're doing. Like it's just like you take them as one. So I think that it's tough to be like, well, there's things that I don't.
I know specifically that. Well, this is gonna be a heated topic. Let's just be clear. Like, I know specifically the things that I do not like that Donald Trump did, right? But this is to bring about my point of me hating media. What is the worst thing that Donald Trump has done that you just do not agree with?
I just think the way he uses social media right now is like inappropriate as a president. Like where he just constantly I don't know, attacking people.
So that's the worst thing that he's done.
That's not the worst thing in his policies.
What's the worst policy?
His policies seem to just be more in favor of rich white people than of...
Which one?
I don't know, this whole tax policy, in theory, it's supposed to, it's like this trickle down economics effect. It's supposed to be, but in reality, like the only people who are gonna like immediately be benefited from it are people who are rich. It's not gonna help. It's not gonna help poor people for sure. It's not gonna help middle class people. It's gonna help rich people. And then we're supposed to just wait until like this trickle down effect like happens.
So like on your
or him like let's build this wall.
So.
Just blatantly lying and getting caught in his lies.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of things that are wrong with him, but I think a lot of times. Hey, thanks, I appreciate it. A lot of times, what happens is that we hear these pundits screaming from the hilltops about what they don't like, but they don't give you like a 360-degree view of what's going on, and they just highlight all these negatives and really just drive that home. And honestly, that's not like the complete issue, Like just for example, and again, I am very stern in saying that I'd rather him not be president. I'd rather, what was his name? Bernie Sanders. I would have rather have had Bernie Sanders in the White House because I think he was for the type of change that America needs. Hillary Clinton, I think she would have been a good candidate, especially with her parallel with Obama. But honestly, there was a lot of things that she did in her past that are like questionable, and that's tough. Bernie Sanders, on the hand, he has a pretty clean slate, and he's been very clear on what his agenda has been since he's ever had public office. So I like him. And then Donald Trump, obviously being the wild card, we can't even talk about any of his past policies, but only his his current, right, that he's just actually passed as a president. And I'll just touch on one, being, you know, our tax credit. There's an issue. There's our tax laws. There's an issue with the tax law in regards to the fact on your private income, your income tax. There's a time limit to it. So I believe in the next 3 to 5 years, something like that, that this benefit will actually go away. But essentially, like, even when we got our taxes done, babe, they were saying that you're supposed to get more per dependent than ever before, right? They're saying that the typical reimbursement is higher than you would have got on last year's tax laws based on the policies that Trump put together. And then we talk about the trickle-down economics, and that comes from corporate tax laws. And they've actually cut corporate taxes by 10%. Now, being a business owner, I used to own a business, Simplified Communications, and at the end of the year, either before or after, depending on how you pay yourself, any profits made by the organization was taxed by 35%. Now, for 2018's tax return, my ex-business partner has the opportunity to file taxes for 25%. That 10% doesn't necessarily go back into his pockets, but it goes.
Where does all the extra taxes come from? Where is the taxes that they're cutting there? Someone has to get taxed more. Like, it has to come from somewhere.
All right, I'll answer that in a sec. From the way I understand it, I always suggest that everybody do their own research, go to non-biased media outlets, and just figure it out, right? And that's what I did, and I'm not an expert by the least, but I feel like I have a good understanding of it all. And a lot of it is also assumptions and predictions, like we all have. And you might do your research and come out on the side of my wife, which is fine, but you've done the research. So that 10% doesn't necessarily go into his pockets. What my ex-business partner decided to do was hire 3 new individuals, right, with the extra revenue. The 3 new individuals now have a job to pay their bills, to buy their, you know, tchotchkes and gifts, and do the things that they like to do with their disposable income. That is how you stimulate the economy, right? So now we talk about, well, where do we fill in that 10% gap? Well, now that starting business in America is a little bit less scary, because once somebody tells you, yeah, all the money that you make, when I found that out, that was pretty shocking to me, because I didn't know when I started the business, we're going to take a third of it. That's so much money. Instead of a third of it, we're going to take a quarter of it. It's a lot more attractive to say, you know what, I want to be...
It's the same thing, isn't it?
No, a third is 33%, a quarter is 25%.
Oh.
So it's a lot. Yo, trust me, and it makes a difference.
I'm bad at that.
It's all right. Trust me, it makes a big difference. It's a lot less scary. It's to start a business and try to, you know, be the next. Let's be honest, Jeff Bezos. I mean, he started Amazon in his garage, and now he's the richest man on the planet. You know, that's what America allows for, and by not taking more of the money that would go into employment, research and development, because let's be honest, these rich people are rich enough. They're just trying to continue to make that generational wealth by reinvesting into their organization. And funny enough, I was watching an interview with, and I'll stop talking, but I was watching an interview with Elon Musk. He's the CEO of Tesla. I love Tesla cars, by the way. And he was saying that he had a factory that was all automated, and they had to remove 50% of the automation and get more human beings as part of the process. It's like a what's that, grilled cheese? It's really good. We're talking about the food. He had to eliminate half of the automation and get people back onto the what do you call it? I was gonna say the conveyor belt, but basically the line.
Assembly line?
The assembly line. That's the exact word I wanted. Thanks. The assembly line, to ensure quality control and have less errors. And I'm telling you, the less money that's being taxed, the more money that's in these CEOs' pockets, even the richest man in the world, they're going to reinvest into great ideas and give America jobs. So, I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Now, that's one thing that
So do you think that it's because of Donald Trump's personality that his the good, your perceived good of his policies.
Nah, man, that's the worst part about him. Just his like attitude.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That it overshadows like any positive of his policies because of his.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I loved about Obama, because I think it has I think to measure your altitude, you have to measure your attitude, and Obama had a great attitude, and I think it inspired, especially the underserved, like African American individuals. It inspired them to be more professional, to be more, have more respect for themselves, right? Know that they can achieve a lot more than they give themselves credit for. All the way back to media, guys. Like, if I'm listening to music that consistently tells me that I should be happy that I'm here past 25, then what really has been my goals in life? To survive?
To just be alive?
Yeah. Like, so when you see somebody like Obama on the big screen every day running the most powerful country in the world, it inspires you and lets you know that anything is possible. So I think that, I mean, obviously, and then his policies too, I think there was a mad hate in the government, and it effed up a lot of the initiatives that he wanted to put together, because it really did take cooperation. I think the fact that Texas dropped out right away on Obamacare took out a huge population of people that would have really balanced out Obamacare and made it feasible. It's horrendous because all the red states dropped out of using it, and then you didn't have enough healthy people utilizing the service, and it made it extremely expensive. So yeah, I mean, every politician is gonna have their issues. Donald Trump's biggest issue is just not being able to sugarcoat what he has to say to get to the masses, and he doesn't think it's necessary, you know, because of his background, I suppose.
I think it's about sugarcoating. It's just about being like professional. Like, just be a professional.
Well, when I say
you have to deliver things.
Amen to that. But I've been in some pretty high level meetings, and they like dropping F and S bombs and talking pretty lewd. I mean, that's what happens in these meetings, these executive meetings. Now, publicly, I think the sugar on the cake, and I like to call it icing on the cake, is so important. Because, like, imagine a wedding and you have a wedding cake and there's just cake there, no icing on top of it to make it look beautiful. This is gonna be less appealing, even though it's just as much sustenance. Right. You gotta make it appealing, you gotta make it attractive, you gotta make it wow. And he, being a marketer, like a expert marketer, quote unquote, it's so surprising how terrible he is at marketing his ideas. It's like, wow. This does not sound like it's going to be good.
I never thought of the term sugarcoat like that. I thought of it as make it sound nicer than what it is.
Well, that's what it is.
Not like more, not necessarily more appealing. It's just like you're not, because usually when someone's like, don't sugarcoat it, like, it's because you have to give some type of delivery of a bad message.
No, you can sugarcoat good messages too. Right. It's the pomp and circumstance in any presentation, right? Like, at the end of the day, the client only wants to see the dollars and cents, but it's so important to build value. And Obama built value. He told you.
I want to say one thing. You're so smart, babe.
Oh, thanks.
You're so like intellectual.
So Obama did a really good job telling us why we need to do something and what the route was. Donald Trump is really good at surprising us and like, what's happening? Huh? Who's getting fired again? So yeah, no, you're right. I think we're both right in a way, and it'll figure itself out. But back to the topic at hand, Kanye West. Yo, like, that has been the biggest thing to me in regards to relationships. How am I supposed to change someone's mind if I am like telling them that they're the worst person in the world? If I approached you and I said, like, I hate everything that you're doing, we need to change it, like, you'd be more reluctant rather to listen to my opinions. But if I'm saying, like, yo, like, I F with you, I just don't F with all of your ideas, like, well, I appreciate that. And even, I think Donald Trump ended up saying everything's good here, everything's wonderful. I think, we're gonna enjoy it. We'll let you know. Thank you. I think Donald Trump, said on Twitter, thanks Kanye. that means Kanye has his ear. That means Kanye will be able to say, you know what, this is what our people's feeling and this is what we need to do. Not to say that Kanye is a person for that, but when you are a politician and you've been bad mouthing the guy because he's a R and you're a D, you know, it's just like, well, how is he ever supposed to listen to us then? How are you supposed to? Is the goal to get him impeached and then replace him with somebody else and then have us heard? Or but why can't we have our story heard now, right? Yeah. I don't know. Because, you know, I'm talking about the Speaker of the Democratic House. You know, the Speaker of the Democratic House, as soon as he came on board, it wasn't like Obama, where it's like, let's reach across the aisle, let's have a conversation, let's create dialogue, and let's make it work. It's, we got to get this guy out of the White House. Like, okay, this guy has just blocked you on all social media. Like, that's what I would do as a human being. Could you imagine if somebody came at me all left and then it's just like, oh, but there's some things that I need. Like, I'm not giving you shit. You relax.
Right.
So that's, honestly, Kanye's doing it because he's dropping an album starting June 1st, etc., etc. It's the best media play. Kanye dropped this dope freestyle on TMZ. It was crack. He killed it, and that's what solidified it for me. And this is my closing thought on this topic. It was like, it was mad Kanye. It was 99 Kanye. Like, it was all about the struggle and the fact that we still need to fight. But guess what? Guess who's listening now? Guess who's listening? It's not just the Kanye fans. It's everybody that wanted to make America great again, that saw his hat on Twitter, like, oh, Kanye's about our movement. And then you listen to the album. I guarantee the album's gonna be speaking on this. But just listen to the freestyle that TMZ dropped. It's pro-black. It's pro-us. It's pro, like, we need change. And now he has the ears of the people in power. Like, you gotta like see. And yo, that's what Jesus did. Jesus loved everybody. He didn't like.
Let's bring Jesus instead.
Yo, like, I mean, Jesus is so special. You know, like, Jesus was with the richest of the richest. He was with the poorest of the poorest. He was with the sinners. He was with the winners. And at the end of the day, he brought everybody together, because we can't win alone. We work together to win together. Like, that's one of my favorite mantras, and it's so true. When you can have a dialogue with somebody, agree to disagree, move forward with a direction that makes sense for everyone, or, you know, gets the best parts of every piece, man, you can kill. So I'm really excited about Kanye, but let's be serious. Kanye is an artist. He's trying to move some units, he's trying to move some merch, and he's going to. I guess the message is like secondary, you know, but he has a message too, guys. Listen to it. What are your thoughts? That's my thoughts.
I already said what my thoughts were. I don't have any final thoughts though, but we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good album. I can't wait. We'll talk about it. I'll listen to it in my car, and then I'll let my wife know what and she can listen to it on headphones. Which is maybe topic number 3. Staying in your car after you come home.
It's not a topic. We're not.
It's too heated. It's too personal.
Yeah. We're gonna
well, look.
fight in this restaurant talking about that.
Comment below, because it'll help our personal life. Is it okay to? What is it?
It's not okay.
Oh, you explain the scenario.
Oh my god. This
And
is
we
what
don't
the
have-
topic is? Alright.
No.
This is one of your topics?
This is one of the topics. Just explain the scenario, and then we'll leave it at that.
All right.
And they can comment.
So the scenario is that
I come home from work.
yo, can I let me just say it. A lot of times, my husband coming home from wherever, he will just sit in his car for a very long period of time before he comes into the house. Like, it's very, very, like, even whenever he's coming home, he picked up the kids from daycare or school or whatever. I don't remember the last time that he has come in before the kids or right after the kids. He at a minimum is sitting in his car for 10 to 15 minutes. He has literally, like, fallen asleep in his car. He sits in his car for hours. Is it weird? Or is like, do other people do this? Is this a normal thing? I think it's weird.
All right, comment below. All right, so what's topic number 4?
Yeah, so let's talk about something light now, since we've been talking politics and all this other stuff. So, you know, we're both getting older. Well, I'm 32. You're gonna be 32 here.
Yep.
End of June. And sometimes, you know, you reminisce about back in the day before we had all these responsibilities and had these kids waking us up at 5 o'clock in the morning, or not letting us sleep there in the middle of the night, and just not being able to do the things that we want to do. You think about, you know, when it's much simpler times in high school. And I was just thinking about, you know, all the craziness that I did in high school. And one of the topics that came to mind was that I thought would be a good discussion point, just because, you know, we've come from different places in the country. You know, you were brought up in New York City, and I was brought up, you know, in a rural community on a reservation. So, what is the craziest high school party that you can remember that just comes to mind? Because I feel like we all have them. We all have to have something that just sticks in our mind of the craziest high school party.
I never told you about the house party that I had?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that's the craziest one. The one that I had. I don't know. It wasn't because I had it or anything like that. It was nuts. It was crazy.
Why is it crazy? Like, just like, tell a story.
Tell the story? All right.
How it's crazy.
So,
how old you were, what grade you were in?
I had to be 17 because school was still in, and it was my senior year. It was like a senior party. And my parents had left to go to Rugby, North Dakota, which probably tell you someday leads into how I meet Trisha and whatnot. But they moved to Rugby, North Dakota, and it was just me and my older brother, and we were in a house in Queens, New York. And I went to a high school called Thomas Edison High, and I had some friends that went to Jamaica High School, which is right next door to Thomas Edison, and lived next door to me. One was named Munch, and the other one was named Ace, and I'd see them and hang out with them every day, and a lot of times they'd just be in my house because there's no parents there, and just chill. And one day we were just like, you know, let's throw a party. It was my idea.
Of course it was your idea.
I called it the house party, like, and it had, like, the flyer had a picture of the house party cover on it, the movie House Party with Kid and Play. Mm-hmm. So it looked pretty cool. I made it on Paint before I knew how to use Photoshop. So it was pretty.
Photoshop even came out.
No, Photoshop existed. I just didn't have access to it. It was Paint. So I made the flyer. It looked pretty dope. Printed a whole bunch out. Gave some to Munchie, and he handed a whole bunch out in like his neighborhood. Our neighborhood, I should say, in Henderson, and in Hollis, to a few of my friends there, and then everybody in my high school in my senior class, pretty much, and shit, like, just waited, you know. We had a DJ for the party, so that was pretty dope. We made a deal for $500. I gave him $200. We never gave him the rest of the money. I feel bad about it till this day. I have him on Facebook. One of these days, I'm just gonna send him $300 when I have it like that. I guess I do, but no, I really want to have it like where it's not even like an issue, where it's like pocket change, you know, like $300. I could do something with that now. So, but when that day comes, I'm gonna send it to him. He hasn't never asked me for it or anything like that. We just like really just hit him with the L on that. He was like, "Yeah, we're not paying you." And mind you, my man Munch, he's a gangster in that area, like for real. Like,
that's a lot of money though, $500
for a DJ. Yeah, at that time. Yeah, I guess maybe, I don't know. We made a lot of money because we were actually charging people to come into the house party, which was dope as hell, $5 a person. And I kid you not, that entire house was flooded out. It was a house. It had a basement. The basement was flooded with a whole bunch of potheads. The whole basement had like a cloud in it. You went in there, you ever see the cartoons how they like fly through like clouds, and then you can see the shape of them in the cloud? Like, that's basically what happens. You like make a tunnel shape of your body because of all the weed smoke in the air. So that was pretty crazy, and everybody was enjoying themselves, which was awesome. Then you go up to the top floor. It's like the kitchen is the first area, and we had like basically a bar made out of our pantry. So the pantry, we had a little bartender. That was Ace actually, and he was serving up liquor all night long. I have no idea what happened to that money. I think he pocketed it, which is fine again, because whatever. Everybody had a great time getting liquored up. Now mind you, we're all like 17, 18 years old with a bar and a floor dedicated to just marijuana. So just awesome experience. In hindsight, probably the most sketchiest situation I could have put myself in with no parents around. Then the living room and the dining room, which were pretty large, were dedicated to the DJ, dancing, mingling, chilling, having a turn up type of time. Now mind you, this is like in November. This is November, like it's cold outside, right? People are dressed with long sleeves at least. Inside the house, it has to be at least 90 degrees, not because we have the temperature up, but because of all the body heat. Like, you couldn't even pass somebody without, like, saying, excuse me. Like, you have to, like, nudge around people. There was people on the wall to the middle, dancing super hard to just, you know, getting grinded on by all sorts of, like, you know, Caribbean women. It was pretty dope. If I had to put a number on it, it would have been, like, maybe 200 people came through. All paid $5, so we made, like, probably around $1,000 that night. There was a line from my door to like down the block, and it was just so crazy that people were lining up to get to my party in my house. The aftermath was crazy. I mean, the house was destroyed. There was a hole in the wall. Oh, I should say,
your parents ever find out about this?
I don't know.
Well, they gonna find out now.
I don't know if they ever knew, but they had to know in some way or form. I don't know. I think parents kind of act ignorant, but being a parent now myself, I know what's going on. I know what you guys are doing. But it got broken up by a gun. There was like gunshots outside, so everybody stormed out. So that was that, and made a lot of money. Oh, the night after I had to actually fly to rugby. Or like, yeah, the night after I had to fly to rugby. And everybody's out the house. It's daylight now, so light's actually shining into the home. And this place is trashed. And every single one of my friends, Ace, Munchie, and everybody else that always flops in my house, they were nowhere to be fucking found. It was just me and my brother cleaning up this house. And we found a hole in the wall, which was pretty like critical. It was like a big ass hole in the wall. It was like, oh shit. And then the cabinet, I don't know how, but like the cabinet over the stove was hanging off of like, it was just hanging down. Couldn't fix it. So when my parents came, we told my mom and dad that we were moving furniture, and we accidentally busted a hole in the wall. And we said we didn't know what happened to the cabinets. How did this happen? We were as surprised as they were. Man. But I left my brother, who didn't even like join the party. He just stayed in his room in the attic. He was this.
What he does now, just sits in his room.
No, it's not Emeka. It's Chucks. Mm-hmm. My older brother. So he saw the aftermath.
Oh yeah, because Emeka would have been there.
Right. He was pretty disappointed with everything that happened, because he definitely said, you need to keep this under control and not go too crazy, and it went crazy. And when I left to go, it sounds like me, right?
Yeah.
And when I left,
keep it under control, and then it's not under control.
I don't know how to say no. When I left to go to Rugby, North Dakota, and this is just how my brother's always been, he ended up cleaning up the whole house by himself.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. He didn't ask for any money. He didn't get any money. He wasn't even part of the party.
Why would he ask for money? Just because?
Because we made money off of it, maybe. I don't know.
I thought you said that Ace stole it.
Ace didn't steal it.
What did you say he pocketed?
Oh, the liquor money. I don't know what happened to that. I don't know. The dorm money. Actually, Vernon was holding the dorm money. I don't know if you ever noticed Vernon on my Facebook. He lives in Atlanta right now. But Vernon was holding the dorm money. That was cool. We split it up between me, Munch, and Ace. And then that's when we were debating if we were going to pay the DJ the rest of the money. And I was like, I don't know if we want to do that.
So we can have, like,
that's like $50 less for each of us. I don't know. It was a little bit more than that.
That's funny.
So, yeah, that was the craziest party that I've ever been to. My own.
So funny. My story is going to be like the complete opposite of yours. Like, one, it was outside, just in a field.
Sure.
It was in the summertime. I think I was I think it was a junior. It was a junior, and it's all dramatic. It's not even positive. So I was out in the field. I think I had just, I don't know what the situation was. Oh, the situation, I remember, it was end of school. So I had just gotten in a fight with somebody. So I got like suspended for the last couple of days or whatever. And so it's not too long after that, I saw that girl who I got in a fight with and her older sister at his party. And we were there for like a long time. It was like nighttime when we were there. And as the sun started coming up, then I don't know, I guess maybe because this girl was drunk or whatever, maybe she just noticed me. I don't know what happened. She came up, but her older sister came up to me and was like, with this girl who I got in a fight with, and was like, I heard that you're trying to like pile my sister. So I don't know if you know in Res language that means, but you know, you're just trying to jump them. Yeah, there's the word. Jump them. So I was like, why would I, you know, pile your sister when I already fought her like one-on-one? Like, what was the point in that? And then there's like extra drama going on because this is the same girl who had just had a baby with my ex-boyfriend. So that was crazy.
In junior year?
Yeah. What do you mean? It was my junior. It was like my junior.
Like she had a baby in your junior year or in the future?
She was older than me, so she was a senior. So, yeah. This is what happens at the reservation. Everybody has babies. A lot of people. Yeah, it's pretty typical. A lot of my friends had babies their freshman and sophomore year. 3 of my friends had babies by their freshman sophomore year. So
that's crazy.
When I had Nikita at 20, I felt like I was old. Well, actually, I was 21, but got pregnant at 20. Yeah, so she had a baby with him. So I was like, you know what? I know that you just like I know you're just trying to fight me because of him. That's what you're trying to do. Because after he had a baby with her, he tried to like be back with me. But anyway, so she was trying to fight me, and then this boy, who I knew, I don't know, he was always very protective of me. But he went up to her and was like, if you try to fight her, like I'm gonna beat your man up. And so, you know, she tried to fight me. She pushed me or something like that. And then my friend grabbed me and we got broken up. So then he went and started beating up her man. And it was so sad because her man at the time was just this little guy, and like my other friend was just like beating him up. And then my other friend, who was like super drunk, was like, me and this girl that was trying to fight me, we ended up standing next to each other while we were watching this boy who was protective of me and her man like beating each other up or fighting each other. And then she was like, it's all because of you. And I was like, well, he told you to not touch me, otherwise he's gonna beat your man up, but you touched me. So then my other friend, who was just super drunk, and I'm pretty sure she didn't even know what she was doing, was like, just leave her alone. Why don't you pick on somebody your own size? Because, you know, I'm really small. So she's like, what? You know, had her arms up like, whoa, what you gonna do? And then this other girl who was trying to fight me just went up to my friend and like punched her in the face.
Oh my goodness.
And they started fighting. And I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's just fighting because of me. And it was so sad because this my friend was like, you know, an aspiring model, and she had set up appointments like later on in that week, but because of this fight, she had this huge scratch just all across her face.
Oh no! Is that permanent?
No, it's not permanent, but she had to cancel. She canceled those meetings because she had this huge scratch on her face, like all across her face.
Could have changed her life.
And yeah, she's not a model today.
Because of that fight.
I don't know if it's because of that fight. But yeah, that
sounds crazy.
That was the craziest. I mean, and that's just one of many one of many parties where.
Did you win that first fight that you were in?
Huh?
Did you win that first fight that you were in? Remember you had a fight with her before?
I felt like I did.
I
remember. Yeah. Well, this is what happened. Like, I went up to her, yo, this is like triangle of people. So I ended up fighting this girl because that girl was the sister of this other girl who had a baby with my ex-boyfriend. But he started seeing that girl who he had a baby with, one of her sister, her other sister. So yeah, so there was some tension between us, and then I remember we were in the lunch line, and her sister had walked through the lunch line, and I was there, and she hit me with her shoulder. So through the whole day, I was when I see her, I'm gonna confront her about it. So at the end of the school day, that's what I did. I just went up to her. I remember me and my friends were walking to the parking lot to the car, and I didn't even tell them I was gonna do this. I was just in my head, I'm this is what I'm gonna do. So then when I saw her, I walked away from my friends, and my friends didn't even know. And I was why'd you do that? And she's because my sister told me to, and then she pushed me. And I remember she pushed me so hard that I fell on the ground. I was oh shit, maybe this was a bad decision. Shit. And then I tried to get up, and she pushed me again, and I fell again. I was oh man, this is not going how I thought it was gonna go. But it ended up though, when we got broken up, I was holding her head down, and I was punching her in the face. So I don't know, I felt that meant that I won. But I had I had a bloody lip in the inside. And did I have a bloody nose? And I had a bloody nose too. So I remember one of my friend's boyfriend had said someone asked said, yeah, I saw her fighting, and they're well, who won? And then he was the other person, of course. And I'm but when we got broken up, this is how it ended. So how is that how? So that's why I'm I feel like I won, but I don't know. But then I fought that girl again.
Did you win that time?
I felt like I won that time too. But I don't know, it was a perspective. Because how that ended was she was on top of me, but I had my legs wrapped around her and was hitting her.
You should have been a UFC fighter, not a lawyer. We were kids.
Those were the only 2 fights that I've ever been in. Well, besides my aunt, but that doesn't count.
We'll hear that story next time. So, what did you think about the food in the restaurant?
I don't know. I probably won't order it again. I mean, I wouldn't say it was bad, but it's just not it's not my cup of tea. I hate ordering when I'm hungry, because I'm I don't know. It was alright.
It was alright. Would you ever come back to this restaurant?
No.
Whoa. I'm the exact opposite. I like my food a lot. It was very different. I would definitely come back and recommend this restaurant. I guess, how many stars do you give it?
Out of what?
5.
I don't know. I'd say 3. Even though I didn't necessarily enjoy the food that I ordered, I'm sure your food was good. I ate some of your food.
Yeah, my food was great. I went with pretty basic scrambled eggs. You heard what I ordered, but scrambled eggs, potatoes. It had this really cool toast with cheese melted on the top. But I don't even know how to explain it. You have to have it for yourself. And then of course some bacon, and the bacon was really good, honestly. It was a different style of bacon that I've never had before in my life. So yeah, I give it a 5. If you give it a 3, that's an average of 4. This restaurant gets a 4. Solid try on, I think it's a great place to entertain guests and bring somebody that's never been to the city, just because it's so interesting, and maybe a great event
and the
location.
menu was interesting looking.
Yeah, this whole experience has been kind of interesting. But there's a bowling alley and some other things here, so I think it's maybe a good place to just de-stress after a long week with maybe your work team or your family. So that's what I thought. Thank you so much for enjoying our second episode of Great Food and the Best Topics with husband and wife. I know you enjoyed it. Let us know how much you did in the comments below. Please share and subscribe if you haven't already. Talk to you soon.
Goodbye. I feel like I really showed my Resi side in this episode.
Yeah. Oh, you are. You're native. Actually, yesterday when I came back off of the airport, off of the airplane, She was like, I'm so happy to be home. I can't wait to get to the rest. She was talking to somebody on the phone. She was like, I can't wait to get to the rest.
Really?